Hi guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome to a new dragging video. You guys, we have a lot to get through. Let's get started. But first of all, we're going to start off here at TikTok actually. There's a TikToker who posted a video. If I can still find it, I'll link it below. If not, let me just paraphrase. She was at the Hermes boutique in Chicago and she was shopping and she saw something that she liked. She took a picture and she wanted to take a picture and wanted to send it to her SA in another Hermes boutique. And then an Hermes SA at the Chicago store approached her and basically told her off for taking a picture to send to her SA and seemed to be upset that she did that. So it was really interesting watching the video because I was like, damn, like big HSAs in America really do dislike this. I've seen it mentioned in other dragging reviews where like if you go to a big H store, just for example, let's say you shop in LA, but you go to the boutique, one of the boutiques in New York, okay, and you're like, okay, you know, I'm going to pop in there and I'm going to take a picture so I can send it to my SA in LA. They get really upset at that for some reason. And yeah, he dragged her, he checked her. He was not. Now, if you're watching this and you've seen the video and if you're the TikToker, it's all love here. But you know how it is. If you post something online, people are going to react. I have to say, I think some of these essays are quite territorial, and I think big H essays are very territorial about like their stores and their product. Maybe he felt like you coming up in here, but you're not trying to buy anything. If it's that serious, just go look in your home store, look online. I don't know, man. I don't feel like she's wrong for looking. And again, a lot of big H boutiques are not consistent about the picture policy. I've never been told off at big H for taking a picture. But as I said on my last trip last year at George Cinq in Paris, there were signs like, do not take pictures up in here, okay? And in George Cinq specifically, they're very weird about taking pictures. So tell me what you think about that one. All right, let's go here to the Louis Vuitton boutique in New York, USA. I walked in here to shop for a purchase I plan on making in the coming weeks. I wanted to take a look at a bag and a wallet. But once the staff found out I wasn't trying to make a purchase, an immediate one, they told me they were dealing with another client and will be back. I waited half an hour at the counter, ended up leaving. It actually made me sad because I wanted to look at the bag before purchasing. Probably would have come back next weekend and bought it. However, after my experience, I went to Gucci. Maybe next time, question mark. Yeah, you know, we've talked about this before, baby. They do not want you coming up in there browsing. And this is the Flagship boutique in New York. Again, I've said it. I'm going to put it on the merch that will be coming this December. Okay, it's going to be super limited. So those of you who want it, make sure that you stick around for it. I'm going to put it on our merch. Okay, do not go up in people's flagship stores if you have zero intention of buying. Say the magic word with me, today. Say it with me now. I want to buy it today. If you want to browse, go to the department stores. Again, we've been through this so many times. Department store essays do not care. When I think of the way they don't care is I think of an essay that I saw at Max Mara last year at Galerie Lafayette in Paris. I was just milling around. She was like, girl, try things on. We've got coats, try them on. She was not pressed at all. Like, she did not care if I was going to buy, if I wasn't going to buy. She was like, just look around. They don't care because there's so many people who come to the boutique to shop. So they just know that they're going to get clients anyway. Whereas the flagship essays, they have targets. They need to hit certain targets. So if wasting 30 minutes with you and you're not going to buy something today, they don't like that. You know, by the way, this client is a man. So this is from the menswear, like the menswear inventory. They really want you to make sure that you are buying today. I was just looking at the AC unit there. The next one is the Hermes boutique in Oslo in Norway. Very bad service. Hermes Oslo gives out Hermes bags based on who you are and your last name. Ooh! You can shop here for several hundreds of thousands of krona. And if you don't have a famous name or face, you will not get the opportunity to buy a bag. All of the big H's base their shopping on your account. Well, not Paris, but you know how Paris is. It doesn't matter what you spend, but we're only going to offer influencers bags who never buy any other items. You don't have to own a single thing from Hermes, but if you're an influencer or have a famous Norwegian last name, then you'll get the bag you want. Differential treatment and discrimination at its worst. Sharpen up Hermes Oslo. An influencer owns a pair of Orans and got it back in today because of her name. I, who've shopped for several thousands, have waited 2 years to get it back, and I'm just a regular person. Unfortunately, I don't have a famous last name. Shame on you. Yeah, this is the thing about Big H that is very unpleasant. It's very unpleasant. Yes, it's the way the cookie crumbles at Big H. We know that they make it easier for influencers. I'm gonna just quickly just mention something. There's an influencer in a country in Europe, and who basically, she one time, I remember she was showing some Big H bits and pieces. Someone had left a comment. I remember thinking the person who left this comment was brave, because she said what we were all thinking. The person was basically saying, and I'll make it easy for you, the influencers in the UK. The person was basically saying, you like, you know, you like get all of these bags, but you don't really seem to have a lot of other things from Big H. And then that person's like, oh, you know, it's not about what you spend, it doesn't matter, it's about your passion for the brand. And it's like, just cut the nonsense. Stop saying things that aren't true. You give people unrealistic hope. You get all of these top tier coveted offers because you have connections at the brand. This particular influencer absolutely has connections with high ranking staff. And you have a lot of followers on social media. For whatever reason, Big H has decided to make it easier for influencers. It is frustrating. I know for many of you guys, I'm a human being too. Even for me, sometimes I'm like, I don't understand what Big H gets from allowing it to be easier for influencers, because the influencer has no material impact on Big H's sales vis-a-vis someone helping Big H to sell, especially because they don't buy Birkin base. So it's not like they can even show the Birkin base. So I feel her frustration. The next one is the Louis Vuitton boutique in Stockholm in Sweden. Terrible service, the worst I've ever seen. The staff don't even hide their contempt. You'll only get a smile for them if you're buying something very expensive. Otherwise, you'll be treated like a lower class citizen. Yeah, you know, listen, Louis Vuitton CAs I think they must have really high targets at Louis Vuitton, because I've noticed that Louis Vuitton, once they realize maybe that you're not buying something expensive, the CA is like, I'm bored, let me just go move on to someone else who's gonna, you know, spend more money and buy something really expensive. The next one is the Louis Vuitton boutique in Lisbon in Portugal. They made us feel very uncomfortable and unwelcomed. Very unpleasant experience from the moment we entered until we left. Very arrogant and rude staff. The male essays upstairs were just chatting. They were laughing at clients' appearances. And they were placing bets on which customers would actually be buying handbags. Yo, I'm a betting person, and that shit's so funny. They should be aware that many tourist customers actually speak Portuguese. We expect better service from such a brand. Very disappointing. This boutique in particular is very popular with a lot of tourists from Brazil. So yeah, there are a lot of people who can speak Portuguese. There are people from Angola, Mozambique, Sao Tome and Principe, Cape Verde, and so on and so forth. So there are people who can speak Portuguese, and of course people from Portugal as well. There are a lot of people who can understand Portuguese. So yeah, don't be sitting there talking about people. Now, come on, I'm a betting person. I love nothing more than placing a bet. them betting which clients are going to buy a handbag is so funny to me. I don't know. I'm going to give them some grace. They're probably just passing the time to see who's actually going to buy something. I don't think it's such a big deal. Same location. I had a highly disappointing experience at the Louis Vuitton boutique in Lisbon. Definitely knowing exactly what I wanted, I spent over 1.5 hours in the store due to staff's inefficiency and lack of attention. It was clear the store prioritized wealthy clients while disregarding others. The SA passed me off to an inexperienced colleague. I received incorrect information about tax-free purchases, leading to further frustration. To top it off, my order was incorrectly shipped to the Lisbon store instead of my address. I expected better treatment, but I was treated below LV standards. You know, again, guys, I just think, make it easy on yourself. When you're going to these standalone stores, no one's saying you have to wear a ball gown. No one's saying you have to wear a red carpet look. But I do think the better dressed you are, the higher chance you have. Now, I've been thinking about this when I was getting ready to film the dragging video. I think that the essays at brands, they must know something we don't about the way clients dress, because this is a universal thing. It doesn't matter what culture the dragging video is in. It doesn't matter what country the dragging video is about. It doesn't matter the brand. the people who are better dressed are treated better. They must see something in their data that shows the best dressed people spend the most money. And yes, I know some of you are going to say, well, I turned up naked in my pants and I wear joggers every day and I have lots of money. That's true, but you're maybe you're not a top tier VIP spender. Maybe you can spend $10,000 and £10,000, 10,000 euros, and that's a lot of money. But maybe the people who spend the most really do just look really put together, because this is like a universal issue at every single brand. The next one is the Dior boutique in Soho in New York in America. Horrible service, and they do not stand by their products. I tried to bring in 3 vintage Dior bags for repair. They told me to go to a cobbler down the street, saying Dior no longer services bags bought prior to 2018. I'll be spending my money at Big C instead. Look, girl, I know you did not just turn up at the Dior boutique in Soho in Manhattan, honey, in New York, New York. And you basically turned up there and you were like, can you fix my vintage bags? You didn't buy anything. I think something to note, if you're watching this and you're going in to repair something, you have to understand that you should go to the person who knows you. Like, go to an SA or your CA who knows you and ask for the repair, versus going into a boutique that has a lot of traffic and has a lot of tourist clientele milling around and then asking them to do something that doesn't generate any revenue for the CA. I can see how that would be frustrating. Same location, the Dior boutique in Soho in New York, USA. The essays are so arrogant. It might be because they judged how I dress. Anyway, I thought, it might be because they judged how I dress. I asked about a runway bag from spring summer 2020, and she immediately responded like that will be available next year, with some kind of attitude. I believe most clients are educated about product delivery, especially those who love fashion. They act like they are so exclusive and special. I don't know. This is a tough one. Because this is from a few years ago. So if you knew something was coming for spring summer 2020 and the essay says it's coming next year, you knew that the bag wasn't available anyway if you're aware about product delivery. So for example, right now it's Paris Fashion Week, Milan Fashion Week, and London and New York have already happened in the past. They're making the clothes for spring summer. A lot of those clothes will begin to be in boutiques from like February and March in terms of prêt-à-porter. I think Dior will have like the spring summer collection for pre-order from January, because a lot of those bags that Jonathan Anderson is designing will be available from January onwards. I don't know. If you're aware of product delivery, you know then that the bag probably isn't available. So maybe I think a better thing to do would be just to say, hey, you'd like to be considered like when it's available, versus getting upset about something that you know that they don't have the bag. The next one is the Chanel boutique in Singapore at the Takashimaya location. The staff expects you to be a sophisticated Chanel know-it-all customer and not to waste their time at the boutique finding out what kind of bags they have. Please download the app, screenshot the bag you're keen to buy, and try and contact one of them that you want to make payment before making your way to the store. I'm really, really disappointed with their service. This review in a nutshell is the reality of luxury shopping in 2025, 2026, and moving forward. The CAs do not want to nurture clients. They want you to be very well educated on what it means to be a luxury consumer. I've actually had these debates with my husband as well, because he's like, what if I just want to look around? I just want to get to know things. They don't want to, and I've told him, like, they don't want to get to know you. Like she said, they want you to know exactly what you want to buy. They want you to be ready the day that you want to buy it. And they want you to be only contact them the day you want to make the payment. Like, she's completely right. She's completely right. And that's the situation with luxury shopping in 2025, 2026, because they don't want to nurture you. They don't want to nurture. They want to take as many orders as possible. I can't knock them from a business point of view, because business is tough and it has to be frustrating. I mean, I have an example as well. Like, in one of my companies with e-commerce, we do a lot of telephone orders. And I remember some of the team were complaining that sometimes clients will call them and ask them a ton of questions and then be like, okay, I might pass by, maybe, to try and buy something from you guys, or maybe you guys can ship it to me or whatever. We have like a point where you can pass by. It's not a store there. And, like, they were complaining, but then some of them will say, okay, I'll just go and buy it myself somewhere else. It's like, no, why should, and it's a fair point. Why should the team work really hard to cultivate you and then you don't come and buy from us? You should buy from us. It's true. It's a tough one, you know. I'm conflicted, but as a businesswoman, I completely understand because there are a lot of people who are time wasters. I just think that Chanel doesn't play those nurturing games. If you're walking into Big C and they don't know you and you're not a VIP client, you need to know what you're buying. Say it with me, today. The next one is the Hermes boutique in Sydney in Australia. We've just experienced the worst customer service by a client called X. They need to remember that they're in retail, which involves customer service. They don't care. If it's that exclusive, why allow regular customers in the store? I was told I would never get a bag in Sydney because I'm not local and that I can't just buy a bag on a whim, even if I can afford it. The essays are so entitled because they have the power to give it to whoever they want. This type of exclusivity should be banned as it only goes to the same clients who resell the bags and profit from them. X treated us like we're a waste of his time, even though we asked to look at a bag on display. He made us wait so long. We ended up walking out. How arrogant and entitled you are, X. First of all, X doesn't care because this is Sydney, honey, Australia. This is the financial hub of Australia. There's so much money from local clients, from Japan, China, Korea. The Sydney boutique also serves people from New Zealand because there isn't a boutique in New Zealand. Like, there's a lot of competition there, girl. So SAX is like, girl, bye. Okay, she's right though. Big H essays have a lot of power because they do have the power to nominate you to the store manager so you can get a quota bag. And we know that the Sydney boutique doesn't play with the girls. We know her reputation online. Okay, we have heard the stories coming out of the Sydney, Australia boutique. It is not for the faint of heart. I wouldn't run up in Big Sydney, honey, trying to make a splash unless I was serious, because I'm pretty sure I would get dragged. Same location, Sydney, Australia, Flagship, Big H. At the recent Hermes sale, I was directed to the lift because the escalators weren't working. My entrance pass had already been checked. When the lift arrived, the doors didn't open to the sale floor. They opened into a storage room. I was already unsettled. I'd been taken into what happened to be a back of house area. As I stepped out again, the staff insisted on checking my pass again, even though my phone was already sealed inside the secure plastic pouch. I told them, you can't use it through the plastic. He said, yes, show me your entrance pass. Okay, this is weird. Then, as if that wasn't enough, they insisted on rewrapping my phone in the same pouch. The whole exchange made me feel like I was being treated like I'd done something wrong. It was humiliating, unnecessary. In my opinion, internal policy is not the same as law and should not give staff a license to treat a paying customer this way. No one should treat another person like this. And the level of entitlement on display was shameless, especially from a brand that promotes itself as the pinnacle of luxury. As an equity analyst and portfolio manager covering the consumer discretionary sector, I see this as a textbook example of poor customer treatment wrapped up in a false sense of aura of exclusivity. Big H's current valuation, trading at roughly 48 to 52 times earnings, more than double of LVMH and triple of Kering, is in my view a masterclass in narrative over numbers. The market isn't paying for fundamentals, it's paying for the illusion of untouchable exclusivity. Okay, girl, you snapping on these hoes. My in-store experience at the sale reflected the inflated perception, layers of unnecessary security theater. She's right, it is theater, you know? You can't take pictures at the sale, but you can vlog at Faubourg. Agree. Humiliating treatment of customers. Okay, they humiliate the customers everywhere. And the sales floor stacked with unsold cashmere, still priced as if scarcity was real. The same overconfidence I saw on the shop floor appears, in my opinion, to be priced into the stock. The sale was 50% off, yet a cashmere coat was still 10,000 USD. Raw cashmere cost roughly 150 USD per kilo. Most retailers price for around 4 times markup. Hermes' pricing, in my opinion, is driven by perception rather than objective quality or scarcity, and the customer service makes it worse. The multiples for stock are, in my view, too high, and this business model is not sustainable. The sale floor was piled high with unsold cashmere. If no one buys it at 50%, why would they buy it at full price? It also raises, in my opinion, valid questions about what happens to unsold stock, whether destruction is handled ethically. Okay, girl, just now you're losing me, girl. Overall, the experience felt more like a bait and switch. I'll be publicly publishing a detailed breakdown on Seeking Alpha, explaining why I believe Hermes stock is a potential short in the context of the global macro environment, and highlighting why, as customers, I believe neither you nor I should be shopping at this store. Okay, so there are a few things that we need to unpack, because this is a bit, you know, she's kind of gone on a rant. She's gone on a financial trading rant about the brand. First of all, that experience doesn't sound nice. to have the thing checked again. It's my understanding, from what I have understood about the sale process in London, I don't know about other places, it's not managed internally by Big H. It seems that there's an external force that handles the way the sale is done. That's what Glamazons who have shopped at the sale have told me, that it is not like done by Big H specifically. It's an Hermes sale, yes, but there's like another company that basically helps to organize it. That's what Glamazons have briefed me about. So I think that kind of like that does affect that like client customer experience, if that makes sense, because that kind of explains why the customer experience can come across very brusque, it can come across very gruff, it can come across very like, it's kind of like, sitting on some asphalt. It's not a pleasant experience, and this isn't nice, I agree. However, girl, you lost me. The people who have a good experience at Big H love the exclusivity in the games because it makes them feel more special, hence why Pex's unicorns exist. The people who get dragged are like, we shouldn't accept this kind of exclusivity. But that same exclusivity that Big H has is why she shops at Hermes. It's why she has been looking at the fact that it's trading at 48 to 52 times earnings. I want to be clear. I've never been that person that thinks Big H is more valuable than Louis Vuitton or more valuable than Chanel. Because to me, the fact that people say Big H is more valuable, they're looking at the stock price, but they're not looking at the actual money that's produced. Louis Vuitton still makes more money than Big H. Big C still makes more money than Big H. And I think Big C makes it's even double of what Big H makes, and Big C have no menswear line. Imagine the amount of money Chanel will make when they decide to make a menswear line. Imagine when that day comes, it's over for the girls, honey. Okay, so I think some of this is people willingly put the brand on a pedestal, and that's why I always tell you, don't put the brand on a pedestal. Don't get me wrong, Big H is a cool chick. She makes exotics. We love her exotics, honey, and we think she's a great time on here. But we don't put her on a pedestal on this channel. This woman put Big H on a pedestal and then was dragged and treated terribly. Now she wants to tear them down. Let me tell you something, girl. No one's reading your Seeking Alpha article, boo-boo. No one's reading it. And the people who read it are not shopping at Big H. So it's one of those things where it's like the people complain. It's kind of like all the critiques about the Versace fashion show from Milan. All the people who said it looked good don't shop at Versace and do not have an account there. Okay? And have never bought Versace items. Okay, I have. I don't have many, but I have bought some things from there. Let me tell you, if you like that fashion show, you're not someone who shopped at Versace anyway. So it's one of those things where it's like, it's all good to like something if you're not going to buy it. You know what I mean? Anyone who has entered a Versace store and bought even one thing didn't like that collection and didn't like it. You know what I mean? So I think in this case, it's like the same exclusivity that people complain about is the exclusivity that keeps them coming back. She shouldn't have been treated that way, asking them let me see your pass, let me do this, let me do that. That's not pleasant. But it's my understanding it's an external company that manages these sales. It might be different in each market. So when you're commenting on this, please don't think that if you live in the UK, it's the same everywhere else. Please don't think because you live in America, it's the same for everyone else. I think it's location specific, but it's very unpleasant. The final one is the Hermes Boutique in Chicago in America. The SAY embodies the exceptionally rude, broken customer service of the Hermes Chicago store. My partner and I have spent several thousands of dollars at this boutique over a few months. We then purchased an Hermes watch with contrast stitching and commented how we love the contrast stitching on the étui backing and how we would love to own one at one point. She proceeded to awkwardly stare at us blankly and said nothing. I repeat nothing and replied, do not shop at this store. This is a really tough one because we don't know how much the watch is. And I feel like it's so hard when you don't know how much like the some of the pieces that people mention, because I find it hard to believe that if it was a diamond watch that the SA wouldn't want to try and help someone get it back quickly. But also this Chicago location, from what I've seen on the Purse Forum, what I've seen on Reddit, and what I've seen on Facebook groups and things like that, sounds really competitive, and there are a ton of clients. So one watch purchase might not be enough. I am actually not against the strategy of mentioning that you'd like to have a bag to go with something, and I would be fine mentioning it. I don't actually think that they're wrong here for mentioning the watch and the Birkin. It's just that there's some essays who are really cold and are not trying to help you, and some essays will trick you out of your money and trick you out of your time and energy and effort. You know, we've all been tricked. I've been tricked by an Hermes essay too, so trust me, when you're tricked, it's not a nice feeling to be tricked, but it happens to the best of us, I think. Okay. I hope you like this video. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. I'll be posting a lot of shorts of Fashion Week this week. So I have a ton of other stuff to post. So I'd love if you guys would stick around and support those shorts as well. If you want to see more long form videos, watch the long form videos if you want to see more of them. That's the key thing here. I've been noticing people are watching my shorts more. I don't know why. I still love long form videos. So if you like these videos, make sure you watch them and like the video, obviously, and subscribe. But also sign up for the newsletter and hit notifications. I really want to build this newsletter because it's kind of where my passion is right now. So please sign up. It's linked below. Thank you so much for watching. God bless you all. I really enjoyed this one. I'll see you in my next video. I'm out.